All right, Nicole Johnson-Zian, great to be with you. We've been watching some of the really heart-wrenching video here this morning about the transfer of 4 bodies. Presumably, we think the Bibas family, the mother and 2 sons, and an 83-year-old man, Oded Lifshitz. Talk about your reaction to watching the video and what happened today.
Yeah, well, it's so different from all the other hostage releases that we've had so far. You know, every time in the ceasefire, we've had about 5 or 6 rounds now, and the first few were marked with abject euphoria. I mean, the whole nation of Israel, like if you just watch the news and watch the news cycle for the week from Saturday to Saturday, because usually the releases take place on a Saturday morning, there's just euphoria. Everybody's rejoicing over the ones who are released, and you see them meet their families and just the joy, you know, that. But today was entirely different. First of all, because they were expecting coffins instead of live hostages, the Israeli media decided not to broadcast the images that are streamed from Gaza. In the past, we've all watched, you know, even on the Israeli news, that the images were coming from Al Jazeera and other Arabic media that's based in Gaza. And so you could see what was happening. And every time Hamas has a spectacle, they have a stage, they have a new banner, a new message, whether to Netanyahu or to Trump. But this time, Israeli media chose to respect the privacy of the hostages that we presume are coming back today. So the atmosphere was very different. It's also raining today, so it just feels like you know, it just goes with the general mood here.
Yeah. And what was the message that Hamas was trying to communicate?
Yeah, it's amazing because every time there was a hostage release, they had a stage, and even sometimes 2 stages during the same one day in different cities, and they have different banners. And the last one was really interesting. They had the Temple Mount, or the Dome of the Rock, with the Palestinian flag, and it would look like the silhouette of Sinwar, the Palestinian leader who was killed during this war. And it said, "No migration except to Jerusalem." And I think that was a direct message to President Trump, to his statements that Gaza should be emptied and rebuilt. And so they're saying, like, we're not going to Egypt or Jordan. We're staying, you know, instead we're going to go to Jerusalem. So, which is what the whole point of Al-Aqsa flood, the operation that started on October 7th, was to take over Jerusalem.
The Al-Aqsa Mosque being on the Temple Mount.
Yes. So it's like, no, that's still our goal. But today, just some interesting messages. I think, for one, the picture, there's again a silhouette of Sinwar, but his legs are tree branches. I'm just looking at the picture on my phone. His legs are tree branches, which means we're rooted in the ground and we're not going anywhere. And the other one, and also very interesting to note, their banners are always in 3 languages. They're in Arabic, Hebrew, which is like to send the message to Israeli people, and in English to get their message to the rest of the world. The other banner they had was just like a picture of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu looking like a vampire.
Yeah, like a vampire, exactly. Yeah.
And with the picture of the living hostages that we presume are coming out dead, but pictures of them living. And the message on that one was, war criminal Netanyahu and his army killed them, talking about the Israeli hostages, with missiles and Zionist warplanes. Now, Hamas also put out a lot of statements, also in English and in Hebrew. Usually, you know, I find in their channel it's only in Arabic, but also English and Hebrew this time, really getting the message across, like, no, we didn't kill them. Like, they must know it's bad for their image. We didn't kill them. They died in Israeli airstrikes, and they keep repeating that over and over again.
So one thing that the IDF will be doing will be a forensic identification of the bodies, but also an autopsy, and they should be able to find out exactly how they died.
Right.
You know.
Right. And we're talking like, at least for if it's the Bibas family, the mom and the two kids, this was back in October or the beginning of November of 2023.
Yeah.
So
they presumably will be able to identify the time of death as well, which may come before all the bombing started in Gaza.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How has the Bibas family, presuming they are the ones coming out, how much emotionally has Israel attached themselves to this mother and two children?
Yeah, that's exactly what has happened. I think all of the hopes of Israel were of Israelis who have been especially active in the hostage movement have been pinned on this family. I mean, they were all kidnapped. The father was kidnapped separately, and he was released about 3 weeks ago now. Yeah. And they were not together during captivity, and even when they were kidnapped. But the mom and the two little boys, and one of them being the youngest hostage, kidnapped at 9 months old, they're all redheads. So the color of orange has symbolized the Bibas family and has become like this everybody's holding on to hope. I mean, October 7th was extremely tragic. 1,200 people were killed, and many more injured, and then since then many soldiers, and the war continued, destructive war for a year and a half. But I feel like the Bibas family was what everybody was holding on to. Well, if they're alive, then we'll be okay. And Hamas announced, or not just Hamas, I think they were held by another organization, maybe Islamic Jihad.
Islamic Jihad, yes.
They announced early on, that they were killed, but Israel has said since the beginning, like, until we can confirm, we don't accept their statements. So, but Israelis have wanted them to be alive, and that would have somehow made it better. I don't know how you choose. It was just crazy when the news came out this week, early this week. Suddenly, we're looking at the end of phase 1, and instead of dragging it out, it's like, all right, let's get all the hostages out. Yeah. By the way, I think it's all before Ramadan, because Ramadan begins March 1st, and all the hostages, phase 1 will be out by March 1st. Before that, but they said there's eight of the remaining are dead and 6 are alive. So when they put out the news of who's alive, it's like you're left to do the math of who's not.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was just like, is this how it's supposed to work? And even like some of the families put out statements like, why do I have to learn from the media that my loved one is dead? And again, until there is official confirmation, we can't even say for sure. Yeah. But we think we know. All the families have said who the 6 are that are coming out on Saturday alive, and then we will know who the other 4 are that will be released again in coffins next Thursday.
Yeah. What was it like to watch this? I don't know if you'd call it a ceremony. Ceremony seems too nice of a word for what we just saw in Gaza. On one side, I've been watching all of them, so I'm not really sure what to say about this one even, but it's bizarre, that they put on this spectacle every week, that they have the hostages parade on stage and wave to the camera and smile, and they give them goodie bags and everything. So to see this, it was very somber. And to see the crowd there, to see, that there were civilians there as well, and everybody watching, it's all a bit, it's a bit macabre, I would say, like just to see what's happening, all for dead hostages, and so one of the things that they did differently in this one as well, and I just saw a translation for it. They were holding some of them signs written in Arabic, and somebody put up a translation. I have to check that it's accurate, but they were supposedly representing the battalions of Hamas that went into Israel. So this one for Nir Oz, one for Nir Oz, which is
all the hostages that are believed to be in this, the deceased ones right now were from Nir Oz. There was also one for Urim, and then there was one for Nirim, and Nirim is the kibbutz, by the way, that CBN is actually rebuilding its community center. We had interviewed one of the kibbutz members.
Adele Reamer.
Yes. Yeah, and she met Gordon Robertson, and interviewed on the 100 Club. So there was a relationship developed, and so CBN is actively invested in helping them return and rebuild. But just to see, so it's ironic just to see the Hamas battalion saying we're the ones that went to Nirim. And so very proudly displaying that. So it's all a bit like, I don't know how to take it, watching it. It's a bit like, it's not normal, but at the same time, like how many people are taking that as normal.
What's next? What happens now?
So we've got, thankfully, 6 hostages who are alive, according to all official reports that are coming out on Saturday. And that list includes 2 men who have been in Gaza for 10 years, both with special needs or mental illness that had on their own individually, not at the same time and not together, got into Gaza on their own and then were held captive. And so their families have said that they got notification that they're coming back. After 10 years, I don't know what their condition is going to be, especially since they went in already with special needs. And then for 4 others, then we will see another 4 bodies handed over a week from now. And then after that, they're already starting to negotiate phase 2. And phase 2 of the ceasefire is much more difficult. There's 59 Israeli hostages remaining. I think originally, before this all started, 6,000, there's an estimated 6,000 Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails. And every time there is a hostage release of Israeli hostages, Israel releases Palestinian prisoners. And so I think we're up to 1,000 now. And we'll see what the price will be for phase 2, because it depends who's left.
Yeah, it's very... I know phase 2 is very difficult because Hamas wants the end of the war. Israel wants all the hostages, and how Hamas releases them all without getting a guarantee that the war is going to end remains to be seen.
Exactly.
You're also part of CBN Israel. Tell us what CBN Israel is doing now since October 7th and what you're doing now.
So since, thank you for asking. I mean, since October 7th, it's been, I started after October 7th, and I can say that we've been directly involved in a lot of what's happening with the hostages, with the kibbutzim, with victims of terror, and also in the north, like not just in the south, but also in the north, the evacuees. And I think the most important thing in looking forward right now is that CBN, in conjunction with Regent University, is building a trauma center. It's called, in Hebrew, the translation directly is a resilience center. And it's going to be a place where we work with psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors in trauma care, in coaching, for all different fields. And we'll be able to help the nation pick up the slack where, the systems are overwhelmed right now for people who need help. And so we're hoping to fill that gap and to be able to help the people who aren't in the direct circle. For instance, the hostages, families, the direct parents or children will get counseling, but the siblings don't, and the aunts and uncles and the cousins and the ones who were fighting, who couldn't work for a year and a half because they were out protesting and trying to raise awareness, or they're just maybe mentally not capable of working, they don't get, they're not eligible for care. But we're hoping to be able to reach them and to help them and to just join everybody who is trying to fill this need. So we're going to have that open in like 2 months. And CBN Israel helps all sectors of Israeli society. And we also really believe in the resilience of the Arab community as well. And I think that's a very important factor as well, to just bring peace and understanding, and to help everybody where they're at. So we're looking at the whole country and seeing where the need is and going there.
And if people want to help, how do they do that?
They can go to cbnisrael.org and check out what we do, check out our work, and pray with us, and check it out and see what. Ask us questions. What do you want to know more? What do you want to know? I mean, I think, follow us on social media and see what's happening. But it's cbnisrael.org is the website.
Pete, you mentioned prayer. How can people be praying right now for Israel?
I think Israel needs a lot of wisdom. I think there's also a lot of division. I think not all Israelis are enamored with the current government or with the decisions, even during this war. Yeah. There's a big divide. There's a divide between religious and secular. There's a divide between left and right. And so I think the biggest prayers would be that they would be able to overcome the divisions with wisdom and to really reach understanding.
Yeah. You want to lead us in prayer?
Okay, sure. Yeah. Okay. Father, we just want to thank you for your presence here, Father, for your eyes are everywhere, and your eyes are here right now on the broken and the hurting. Today is a day of broken hearts and broken people, and I say that about the Israelis and the Palestinians. And so, Father, I just pray that your love, that you would manifest your love to all people who are broken right now, that they would turn their faces to you and seek you for their comfort and for all of their needs and answers. And Father, I just thank you. You are the Prince of Peace. And Father, only with you, with your Son, will peace reign. So I pray that the people of this land, this entire land, will turn to the Prince of Peace. Amen.
Yeah. Amen. Okay. Nicole Johnson-Young, great to be with you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much.